What if everything you've been taught about creating your dream life has been backwards? What if your deepest desires are not something you need to chase, but something waiting for you to remember? Think about the last time you felt like you were doing everything right, visualizing, affirming, staying positive. Yet nothing seemed to shift. That's because you were trying to change the outer world while still holding the same internal frequency. And in quantum manifestation, that's like expecting a mirror to reflect a new image without ever changing your expression. You see, the universe is not responding to what you want. It's responding to what you are. And here's the part. No, one talks about your current identity is shaping the reality you keep waking up to. Not your goals, not your intentions, your state of being. In the quantum field, every version of your life already exists. The abundant you, the confident you, the joyful you, and all coexisting as probabilities. And the moment you embody that version emotionally and energetically, the field begins to reorganize to match it. That's not magic. That's coherence. That's physics. But most people miss this. They try to force change from the outside. They hustle. They control. They wait for the evidence before they feel the emotion. And in doing so, they stay locked in the same energetic blueprint that's producing their current life. The truth is, you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are being. And this is the simple truth that changes everything. Because once you understand that your emotions, thoughts, and energetic signature are not a byproduct of your circumstances, but the cause, you regain the power to shift timelines, collapse possibilities, and call forth the reality you were meant to live. But first, you must confront a difficult truth. You've been conditioned to manifest from lack, to visualize from absence, to desire from a belief that you don't already have. That's why you're exhausted. That's why you've been stuck in patterns that loop. You're trying to receive a new life while emotionally anchored in the old one. Quantum manifestation is not about trying harder. It's about becoming different. It's about aligning your energy with a version of yourself that already lives the life you desire, and then letting reality catch up to your new vibration. Neville Goddard taught this through the principle of living in the end. He said, "You must mentally and emotionally dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, not in hope, but in faithful embodiment." Joe Dispenza calls this process installing the neurological hardware of a new identity. Abraham Hicks simply puts it, "You have to feel it before you see it." And science backs it up. Your brain and body don't know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you feel gratitude for a future event as if it's already occurred, you begin firing new neural pathways and flooding your system with the chemistry of that future. In essence, you become a vibrational match for the life you're calling in, and the field takes notice. The quantum field responds not to wishful thinking, but to electromagnetic signals. Your thoughts send the signal out. Your emotions draw the experience in. But here's where it gets even deeper. The field is not linear. It's holographic and intelligent. That means your present emotional state is not just influencing future outcomes. It's actively rewriting your relationship to the past and rearranging synchronicities in the now. When you shift, everything shifts. The people, the opportunities, the timing, they begin to align. Not because you manipulated them into place, but because you became coherent. You became the version of you who belongs in that reality. And once you understand that, everything changes. You stop chasing signs and start becoming the signal. You stop looking for permission and start embodying truth. You realize the universe is not testing you. It's mirroring you, and the mirror is always honest. So the question is not when will it happen. The real question is, who am I being right now? Because that is what the field is responding to, and that's why the power has always been within you. The most common misunderstanding about manifestation is this. People believe it's about thinking the right thoughts or saying the right affirmations. But manifestation is not intellectual, it's experiential. It's not about convincing the universe. It's about convincing your nervous system that the new reality is safe, normal, and already yours. When you truly become the version of yourself who already lives that reality, your subconscious stops resisting. Your identity begins to shift. And this is where the quantum work begins. Not in desire, but in being. Let's go deeper. You've probably heard about the concept of quantum superposition. The idea that all potential realities exist simultaneously until one is observed. This is not just theoretical, it's the foundation of your reality. Every choice you make, every emotion you repeat, every belief you reinforce is an act of observation that collapses one of those possibilities into form. So when you wake up every day and think, I'm not there yet, or something is missing, you're collapsing that version into your field over and over again. It's not your fault. We were taught to believe we must earn transformation, that we must hustle, strive, prove ourselves worthy of better. But the quantum model doesn't work that way. In the quantum field, worthiness is not required, only alignment. And alignment begins when you stop reacting to life as it is and start broadcasting life as it will be, as if it were already. So this is where most people get stuck. They wait to feel abundance until the money arrives. They wait to feel love until the relationship begins. They wait to feel worthy until the world validates them. But the field doesn't work on delay. It responds in real time to the signals you're emitting. When you feel gratitude before the manifestation, you're no longer just hoping. You're embodying the signal. You're becoming the version of you that already knows it's done. And that's when the shift begins, because your body, mind, and energy field start speaking the same language, coherence. Joe Dispenza explains this through brain-heart coherence. When your heart is open and grateful and your mind is focused and intentional, your electromagnetic signature becomes stronger, more ordered, and more detectable by the field. You become a lighthouse rather than a scattered signal. Neville Goddard framed this as assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not pretending, not imagining. Assuming, take it on like a garment, wearing the identity of your future self so fully that reality has no choice but to mirror it back. The reason most people don't experience results is not because manifestation doesn't work. It's because they're sending out mixed signals. They visualize one thing but feel another. They say affirmations but embody anxiety. They hope for change but secretly fear disappointment. And the field, being neutral and intelligent, simply reflects that confusion. This is where quantum manifestation reveals its most powerful truth. You must become emotionally fluent in the reality you're calling in before it arrives. That means rehearsing gratitude like it already happened. That means celebrating shifts before the evidence appears. That means trusting your intuition even when logic tries to argue. Because once you're vibrating in harmony with the version of yourself who already lives the life you desire, everything else begins to rearrange. Not because you force it, but because you became it. This is not about faking it. It's about installing a new version of reality into your body's awareness. Every day you wake up and choose to feel the feelings of your future self. You're coding your quantum blueprint. You're imprinting new information onto the field. And eventually the outer world will have to comply, because it's not stronger than you. It's responding to you. This is why the quantum model is not passive. It's participatory. It invites you to become a conscious creator, not a victim of your past. And the moment you stop chasing and start aligning, something incredible happens. You don't just attract your desires. You begin to live from them. You walk differently, speak differently, make decisions differently. Not because you're trying to impress a universe, but because you finally realize you are the universe experiencing itself as a human being. You're not here to beg for miracles. You're here to remember that you are one. And that's the moment the field shifts in your favor. Not when you hope for it, not when you wish for it, but when you become the one who already has it. Imagine your life as a waveform, infinite, undetermined, full of potential. Each thought you think, each belief you reinforce, each emotion you embody is like a measurement. And in quantum physics, measurement changes everything. The moment something is observed, the wave collapses. It becomes particle. It becomes form. It becomes reality. This isn't metaphor. This is quantum mechanics. What exists before observation is a field of probabilities. But the moment you direct your attention, the moment you emotionally engage, you collapse the wave into a single experience. This is a quantum collapse. And it's happening constantly with or without your awareness. So when we talk about manifestation, what we're truly talking about is the art collapsing the right waves, the ones aligned with the version of you who already lives the life you desire. But here's where it gets tricky. Most people collapse waves based on the past. They observe through the lens of fear. They react from trauma. They expect repetition. And so the field, ever loyal, ever neutral, responds accordingly, collapsing the same limited version of reality again and again. They don't mean to do this. They're not choosing it consciously, but their subconscious programming is. That's why quantum manifestation isn't just about setting intentions. It's about healing perception. It's about becoming aware of what you're observing, how you're observing it, and whether that observation is born from your past or your future. Because whatever you're emotionally attached to, that's the version you're collapsing. Every time you wake up and say, "It's always been this way," or "It never works out for me," you're not just making a statement. You're performing an act of quantum selection. You're choosing a line of reality where that continues to be true. But when you interrupt that pattern, when you feel a new possibility before it arrives, when you think thoughts you've never thought before, when you feel peace in the middle of uncertainty, you create a disruption in the field, a beautiful divine interference. And that's where new timelines are born. Joe Dispenza explains this beautifully. Your personality creates your personal reality. Meaning if you change your thoughts, your emotions, your behaviors, you change what version of reality you collapse into. Neville Goddard echoes this with change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live. And Abraham Hicks says the universe responds to the vibration you are offering. Not what you say, not what you want, what you vibrate. So the question becomes, who are you being when no one is watching? When you're not doing a technique, when you're alone with your thoughts, because that's the frequency the field is responding to. This is why repetition isn't enough. You can repeat affirmations, visualize dreams, write in your journal. But if your baseline state is lack, fear, or doubt, you're collapsing the same version of life over and over again. True manifestation happens when your default vibration changes. When peace becomes normal, when joy is your resting state, when self-rust is your foundation. And that shift can only darker when you step out of the cycle of observation based on past experience and into creative act of collapsing reality based on who you are becoming. It's not about force. It's about coherence. When your thoughts, emotions, and body align, you become a powerful observer. You collapse timelines faster. You receive synchronicities more often. You experience flow not because you're lucky, but because you've exited the survival loop and entered the creator state. This is what Jesus meant when he said, "It is done unto you as you believe." This is what Einstein meant when he said, "The field is the sole governing agency of the particle." And this is what ancient mystics intuited long before quantum physics had the language to prove it. That consciousness is not passive. It's causal. So if you want to create change, stop watching your life like it's a movie you didn't choose. Stop reacting. Stop waiting for evidence. Start collapsing. Start embodying. Start observing a new version of reality with the eyes of someone who knows it's already theirs. And as you do, the field will respond. Not later, not someday. Now. Because the wave is always waiting to collapse into the hands of the one who dares to believe. There comes a moment, subtle yet undeniable, when the air around you feels different. It's not that anything outside has changed, but something within you begins to shift. A lightness emerges, a quiet sense of clarity. It's like your inner world takes a breath, and in that stillness, a deeper intelligence begins to stir. This is where quantum manifestation truly begins. Not an outer effort, but an invisible adjustment of your inner frequency. Science tells us that what we perceive as reality is not a fixed static world, but a sea of probabilities. The quantum field contains all potential outcomes, all versions of you, and it's your state of being that determines which reality crystallizes into form. Not your to-do list, not your affirmation spoken in resistance, but the coherence between your thoughts and emotions. This coherence creates resonance. When your inner environment becomes orderly, when your nervous system is no longer on high alert, when your heart and brain are in sync, the signal you emit becomes powerful, precise, and magnetic. The field responds not as a reward, but as a mirror. It organizes itself around your energetic signature. So, what shifts this inner environment? Not striving, not more information, but integration. It's the quiet decision to no longer carry the weight of timelines, the pressure of performance, or the addiction to control. You recognize that trying to manipulate the outer world without adjusting your inner frequency only creates more resistance. At this stage, manifestation becomes less about getting and more about allowing what already exists in potential to flow towards you. This is what Dr. Joe Dispenza speaks of when he describes becoming nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, and no time. You enter a state beyond identity, beyond stories, and in that space, you connect with the universal intelligence that organizes all things. It's not about faking a feeling or repeating a phrase. It's about becoming a match to the version of you who no longer seeks proof. You notice when doubt arises, and instead of silencing it, you sit with it. You bring curiosity. You observe the pull toward urgency. And instead of reacting, you listen. What if nothing is missing? What if this moment is part of the preparation? In quantum terms, your observation collapses a wave. Every time you bring attention, calm, present, conscious attention to a new possibility, you begin the process of turning it into a lived experience, not through force, but through focus, through coherence. Neville Goddard didn't teach wishful thinking. He taught identity alignment. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled was not a trick. It was an instruction to embody now the frequency of your future. Abraham Hicks echoes the same. The universe doesn't hear what you say. It responds to how you feel. So the work is vibrational. The shift is internal. And the moment you release the need to figure it all out is the moment you become receptive to what wants to emerge. Not because you gave up, but because you finally aligned. And when alignment is true, reality follows. There's something quietly powerful about realizing that the work is already happening, not out there in some external battlefield, but deep within you, and the world may not notice it yet. There may be no applause, no signs, no milestone to scream success, but something real is shifting, something subtle and irreversible. Because the moment you choose to be truly fully the version of you who lives in alignment with the reality you desire, something activates in the field you begin to become. This is the essence of quantum manifestation. It's not a leap into a fantasy. It's a return to coherence and a merging of thought, emotion, and identity. You don't manifest because you want something. You manifest because you are something, because your state of being becomes a tuning fork that brings your future into the now. And here's what no one tells you. The process isn't loud. It's not filled with fireworks, constant confirmation, or the kind of proof your ego craves. It's silent. It's sacred. It's the quiet reordering of your inner world moment by moment, breath by breath, until the outside has no choice but to reflect the truth you've anchored inside. You're not waiting. You're not asking. You're aligning. This is the code behind manifestation. Not a secret ritual, not the perfect phrase, but identity. Who are you being when no one is watching? What assumptions guide your breath when you're alone in your thoughts? These are not small questions. They are the blueprint of your field. Be, become, receive. It sounds simple, and it is, but it's also the most radical act you can take to embody a truth before the world gives you evidence. Because here's the paradox. The moment you stop needing proof is the moment the universe begins to deliver it, not as a reward, not because you finally did it right, but because your frequency no longer contradicts the reality you say you want. You're not broadcasting lack. You're radiating wholeness. And when that signal is consistent, when your nervous system feels safe in the having, not just the wanting, the field responds. It must. The particles that make up your physical reality are not fixed. They're waiting to respond to the dominant vibration you hold. And when that vibration says, "It's already mine," the collapse begins. You shift timelines not by chasing, but by becoming. So take a moment now not to do more, but to feel deeper. Feel the version of you who already is living the life you once dreamed of. What do they feel when they wake up? What do they believe is possible? How do they carry themselves through challenge? What do they no longer fear? That's not a version to reach. It's a version to remember, because it already exists in the quantum field. It's already formed. Your only task is to become coherent with it, to inhabit it with such sincerity that reality has no choice but to match your internal truth. And if you've been watching, if your heart has been resonating with this message, it means one thing. You're already on the path. There's nothing missing. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're becoming. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop, close your eyes, and whisper to yourself, I am becoming. Not as a plea, but as a declaration, a remembering, a gentle roar from your soul that you are here now and ready to receive what has always been yours. So if this message moved something in you, if it stirred a knowing or brought a calm recognition, take a moment and let the field know. Comment below. I am becoming because you are and we are witnessing it together. There's a frequency so subtle, so soft that most people miss it entirely. Not because it's hidden, but because it's quiet. It doesn't announce itself with drama or fireworks. It doesn't arrive with noise or urgency. It hums beneath the chaos, beneath the doubts, beneath the effort. It is the stillness behind every breath, the awareness behind every thought, the consciousness behind every desire. This frequency is not something you find. It's something you return to. You were born with it. It existed before language, before comparison, before the idea that you needed to prove or strive or attract anything. It's the essence of you, untouched, unshaken, unbothered, and it is magnetic beyond measure. When you stop trying to manifest and simply become the version of you who has already received, this frequency activates. It's the moment you no longer need to convince the universe of your worthiness. You simply are. You embody your worth with such gentle certainty that the quantum field has no option but to reorganize itself around your new identity. It responds not to your need, but to your embodiment. This is the paradox. You attract most when you're no longer trying to attract. You receive most when you realize you are never lacking. You manifest effortlessly when you stop chasing and finally allow. There is a stillness inside of you that has been waiting patiently. A frequency that doesn't scream to be heard, but whispers in truth. It's there in the quiet moment, when you close your eyes and your body feels like home. It's in the moment you decide to trust. Not because of evidence, but because something in your soul remembers the way. This is the code of silent frequency. It isn't spoken. It is lived. Joe Dispenza calls this being incoherence. Neville Goddard calls this living in the end. Abraham Hicks speaks of it as the art of allowing. But regardless of the words, the message is the same. When you tune in, when you align, when you become, everything rearranges because the universe doesn't respond to your wants. It responds to your vibration. You don't need to yell louder. You don't need to do more. You need to be more of who you already are, the version of you that knows deep down you are a co-creator with the field. And that field, it's alive. It listens. It mirrors. So breathe. Not as someone waiting, but as someone already living the version of life they once only imagined. Walk through your day as someone whose energy is enough to shift timelines. Speak as someone who remembers they are not separate from the stars, but made of them. Let your stillness become your strength. Your presence be your portal. The world may not see it yet, but your field is already transmitting. It is already sending signals of wholeness, of clarity, of truth. And the field is listening, ready to match your inner frequency with outer manifestation. You are not chasing, you are becoming. And because of that, everything is already changing. If this message resonated with you on a deep level, consider subscribing. We're building a space for consciousness, transformation, and remembering who we truly are together.